It started with a single pair of feet. On a warm July morning in 1518, in the heart of Strasbourg, then part of the Holy Roman Empire, a woman named Frau Trophia stepped out onto the cobbled streets and began to dance. There was no music, no festival, no laughter in the air. She simply moved, arms twisting, legs stamping, her body jerking as if controlled by some unseen force. For hours she danced, her clothes soaked in sweat, her skin flushed and trembling, her eyes locked in a daze. Passers-by paused to watch, at first with curiosity, then with concern, and finally with fear. By nightfall, she collapsed from exhaustion, only to rise again and continue. No one could understand what possessed her, not even the physicians of the town who rushed to her aid. They tried bleeding her, praying over her, even offering food, but nothing could break the spell. Within days, more joined her. First a handful, then dozens. Men, women, even children began dancing uncontrollably through the streets, courtyards, and alleyways. They twirled and leaped until their feet bled, until bones cracked under the strain. Still they danced. By the end of the first week, over 30 people had fallen under the same strange affliction. By the end of the month, that number had grown to over 400. All of them trapped in a state of relentless motion, moving not with joy, but with agony. Local leaders, desperate to end the plague, turned to the physicians of the day. Their diagnosis was alarming, yet primitive. Hot blood, they said. The body was overheating, they claimed, and the only cure was to keep dancing until the fever burned itself out. So they built stages in the streets. They hired musicians, drummers, pipers, even professional dancers to accompany the victims. They believed that music would purge the sickness from their souls. But instead of healing them, the rhythm only fueled the madness. People collapsed from sheer exhaustion, their bodies twitching even after they lost consciousness. Some suffered heart attacks. Others convulsed until their bodies gave out. Many died right where they fell. Witnesses reported screams in the night. Some dancers begged for help with eyes wide in terror, unable to control their limbs. Others seemed to be in a trance, dancing silently with tears streaming down their faces. There was no known cause, and even more terrifying, no cure. The church, panicked by what seemed like a punishment from heaven, blamed divine wrath or demonic possession. They organized pilgrimages and exorcisms. One theory claimed Saint Vitus, the patron saint of dancing and epilepsy, had cursed the town. Another theory emerged from the soil itself. Some historians believe the townspeople may have consumed bread tainted with ergot, toxic mold that grows on damp rye and can cause hallucinations, convulsions, and delusions. But this theory, while scientifically plausible, doesn't explain why the phenomenon struck again in other regions, because this wasn't the first time Europe had danced to death. Smaller outbreaks had occurred in the 14th and 15th centuries, always in poor regions, always during times of famine, war, or despair. Eventually, in Strasbourg, the madness faded just as mysteriously as it began. The musicians were dismissed. The stages were torn down, and those who survived were sent to a mountaintop shrine to pray, barefoot, in silence. The city never truly spoke of it again. Today, the dancing plague of 1518 remains one of history's most terrifying enigmas. A moment where an entire population seemed to lose control of their own bodies. Was it a case of mass hysteria, born from the pressure of hunger, fear, and hopelessness? A hallucinogenic fungus that infected minds through food? Or something deeper? Some psychological crack in the human soul that opened under too much pain? No matter the cause, the lesson is chilling. Because even the strongest societies, even the most rational people, can break in ways the world still doesn't understand. And sometimes history doesn't march forward. Sometimes it dances.